Hi there, Sandra here from Createinspain and Siser, Juliet, Beginners to Pro. I'm making this video because I think some people are having difficulty in getting the precise cuts that they want for their print and cut, and some people are thinking that it's calibration of the machine which is the problem, and generally speaking, it isn't going to be. And if you're not getting accurate print and cut, the main reason for that is because the trace itself isn't as accurate as it could be. Now, that's not to say that Leonardo does not do a good job of tracing. What it means is that you haven't learned how to use the various adjustments in the tracing boxes to get the best result. Now, it helps if you start off with a decent image to begin with. Now the image looks okay, but you'll see later on that it is not the highest quality image, and in fact I think it's a relatively small file, this one. So I'm not going to do anything with it here apart from select print and cut. Keep the resolution on auto. Now if you have a bigger file you may well be able to import at a much larger size, but this is on the auto. Then I'm just going to click on next. Now here is where you start to use adjustments to get the best out of things. And the easiest way of finding out how good your line is around these things is to zoom in. So click on here and zoom in. I'm going to zoom in around this area here because it gives me a bit of a different shape rather than just straight lines and things. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make it come up here just to center it a little bit. I might even get the end of the antenna in here, just about. Yeah, will do. Okay. So I've got the end of the antenna, but I'm particularly interested in this area here. Now I've not altered the mask tolerance on here, so it's set at 50, and I've got the show grid. Now if you switch off the grid, you get a colour. Now look at what that looks like. It is jagged. It is not clean looking. It doesn't look great. Now you can adjust the opacity of that mask overlay if you want to, so you get to see more of your image. But if you look at it, that mask is not great, is it? It's just not looking wonderful. Okay, I'm going to put it back to show grid because I generally use that form. So in this particular case, because I've got multi-colours here, I don't want to do a select the colour range particularly, and I don't particularly want to have to use manual drawing tools. Well, actually, first of all, I want to show you the mask tolerance. If you move the mask tolerance down, you can see this white line here. If I move the mask tolerance up, you can see that it's going to bring in more of the colour. Basically, a mask tolerance says, this is the colour I want you to trace, and anything within a certain reference number to that colour. So you might have picked up a pale pink, and the higher your mask tolerance is, the deeper a pink it will pick up, or indeed the paler the pink it will pick up in that particular colour area. So higher mask tolerance means it's going to pick up more pixels. So sometimes you can see that that is a way to actually adjust things, and sometimes it's not the best. I'm going to put this back down to 50 again. And now we're going to click on the next selection here. Now we have smoothing level. I'm going to go to zoom in again, and we can look at this area here. And if you look at the lines, which you can now see, there's a big gap there where you would get a white area. This bit here has got some white in it. And if I move up here, I mean, you can see it's following the shape of the antenna, but the print is not fully filled, if you like. There's going to be white gaps around there. Now you can adjust the smoothing level. If a smoothing level is high, it will alter the shape. So if I do the smoothing level and I put it right up here, you can see, oh heck, that makes things a lot worse, doesn't it? So if we started off with a smoothing level, I think it was in 50 first of all, maybe. We take it down a little bit. And I don't want the holes on here because I don't think I've got any anyway. But you can see that it's now snuggled into that area a bit more closely. That bit's not looking great. That bit's not looking great. But it's an improvement on what it was. And if I come down here, look at the other end of the butterfly, let's see what it's done here. That's following it fairly well. Maybe a bit of a gap of white there, but it's definitely an improvement. So now if we go to the next one, and let's go back up to our antenna again. This is where we have the contour offset. Now, if you're going to do a contour offset in sticker making, 9 times out of 10, you're doing an exterior offset. So, for example, you might put this up here. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but that's what you might do. You've got to click on the inset, and then you've got to put your number in. Now, an inset of, for example, 6 is going to be really cutting into the design itself. If I put that down to a 2, it will do a very slight inset on the inside of the line. Now, if I switch that off, and I don't put any offset on it at all, because maybe I don't want to do that, I can add a contour bleed. Now what this is going to do, and it's done a big one there, is add a base line around it. So if you've got images which have got a black edge, then this will be something that you can do quite easily. Just put a contour bleed on it, and then your cut lines will automatically not be on a white area, which is the problem. You can turn this down so that it is much smaller. Okay, so you just got a bleed of 1. Now you can have an inset, a small inner bleed as well. And what that means is that where this cut line is, it will bleed that colour to both the left and the right of it. So the inside and the outside of that line will have the colour applied. So it will make a solid colour band that goes inside your image as well as outside your image. If you don't want it to do that, then you need to switch that off. And you can see the difference that it's made if I put the inner bleed on and if I put the inner bleed off. So I'm going to leave that on for the time being. And then you can click on finish. However, if you get it to this stage and you've cut it out once, you think, no, I'm still not happy with this. And I would recommend that you do this on scrap paper if you want to do something very specific and you don't want to waste decent materials. Do it on a scrap paper first. Make sure it is correct. Play with your settings so you know the effect that you get. Mark down on a print that you've done what your interior contour bleed was or your outside contour bleed was. Mark it down so that you know what it's going to do. So we've got it, but we're still not happy. So what we can do is we can right click, we can go to piles, and we can ungroup piles. Now this, if you notice, if we come over to the layers panel, gives us our image, which I can actually switch off there, and it gives us the cut contour. Now if I select my cut contour only, I can then come down here, I can go to build contours and I can do editable contour. Don't worry that it's gone black. You can use the wireframe mode if you wish. Doesn't make too much difference. It might help you to see what's going on if you use the wireframe there. And you can do the offset in here. So if you want to do an offset, you can do so. Now, if I click on the minus here, you can see, hopefully, that that line is coming in. So in this particular one, you can do an interior offset without having to do anything else. Unlike the other one, which was in the trace program, where you had to say, look, I want an inset With this one, you just click it till it's a minus number. Okay, so put this back to 0. And you can choose the style of it. You can have it sharp or you can have it rounded, depending on what it is you're doing. And again, you've got the include holes if you want to, if you need to do that. And you can change the contour colour if you so wish. And then you can apply it. Now you notice that has gone black. That hasn't taken away my print. It's simply doing that shape in black. So what we do is we come to the colour picker and we just say I want a stroke on there. And then I can actually see what I've done. Now I can go to my layers and I have two choices of cut contour. I have the original cut contour there. I don't particularly want to use, but it's there. And I have the shape, which is the one that I've just done. And then I have my image, which is obviously my print. If at some point you decide you want to remove a layer, you've added a contour and you want to remove an original contour, all you need to do is click on the layer that you want, right click, go to edit, and then you can either cut or you can delete it. And that will get rid of the layer that you want to remove. And then you send the design, all artwork, send, and you will get your print and you'll get your cut lines there. So even if you go through that trace process, you can adjust it if need be. So just be careful where you buy your images or get your images from. That's the easiest thing. That's the easiest way of getting really good print and cuts. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care now.